Judge Juan Merchan is growing increasingly frustrated with Donald Trump's repeated violations of the gag order in the hush money trial. This marks the 10th instance of Trump's defiance, prompting Merchan to contemplate the possibility of incarcerating him. Throughout the trial, Trump has been fined $9,000 for 9 separate violations, with 2 witnesses from the Trump Organization providing testimony. Although Merchan understands Trump's unique position as a former and potentially future president, he is dissatisfied with Trump's conduct. The most severe penalty Merchan could impose would be holding Trump in a courthouse cell, a situation that even the Secret Service would have to address. The preparations to secure a former president in case of incarceration are being considered, as no one is above the law.
Last week, the judge fined Trump $9,000 for 9 counts of violations. Witness testimony resumed with Jeffrey McConney on the stand. He was the controller of the Trump Organization and worked under former Chief Financial Officer Alan Weisselberg. Another witness, Deborah Tazoff from the Trump Organization's accounting department, also testified. She allegedly helped arrange for Michael Cohen to be reimbursed for Stormy Daniels' $130,000 hush money payment. The payment is at the...
But Trump's persistent sharing of confidential information is leading to significant financial penalties. Recently, Merchan fined him $11,000 for his latest breach, with a specified deadline for payment.
Some break-in in the Trump hush money trial. Moments ago, Judge Juan Merchan ruled Donald Trump violated his gag order 9 times. Trump fined $1,000 per violation.
And what Judge Merchan has decided is that 9 of the 10 instances from social media posts of Donald Trump, he did in fact violate the gag order and is held in contempt. Fined $1,000 for each of those posts. He says in part that this was willful violation.
The previous week saw Trump fined $99,000 for 9 prior offenses. It's crucial to understand that continually breaking the gag order could lead to severe consequences for Trump, including additional fines, imprisonment, or even confinement on a vessel.
Along with those $1,000 fines, Donald Trump has been ordered to remove each of those 9 posts on his social media account by the end of the day. And there was also an amended gag order on Donald Trump that now also includes other counsel to the district attorney. So Donald Trump could attack Alvin Bragg if he so desired, but he is not able to personally attack others.
The gag order restricts Trump from discussing potential witnesses or individuals associated with the court or the New York District Attorney's Office due to the sensitivity of the hush money trial, where Trump faces multiple charges for allegedly falsifying business records related to the payment to Stormy Daniels to ensure her silence before the 2016 election. Trump asserts his innocence and denies any affair took place.
I think this gag order is perfectly appropriate because it is carefully crafted. It's narrow. We use this phrase, gag order, lawyers use it, regular people use it, but it's a bit misleading because when you think of someone who's gagged, like an action hero in an 80s movie, they can't talk at all. Donald Trump can still say plenty here. He can still criticize the judge, the DA. He can say this.
That's why I keep calling it a limited gag order.
It's very limited.
You know he's going to fundraise off this, saying, "Oh, look, they're trying to silence me." When in fact,
exactly.
Again, it's just the public figures he can still go after.
And that's why I think it's going to survive if he appeals. I think it's absolutely going to survive because what this gag order protects is the jurors, the witnesses, and the staff. They're the most vulnerable people. They're the people who need to be protected. They're off limits. Everything else, though.
However, Trump's team is actively challenging the gag order, branding it as unconstitutional and un-American. Stephen Chung, Trump's spokesperson, leads the opposition, arguing that the gag order is a tactic used by the opposition to damage the former president's reputation.
And you see what's happened there with the order. Remember, I'm gagged. I'm not allowed to say what I'd like to really say. You'd be very impressed, but I'm gagged. So why would I take the chance? But we do want to defend our Constitution, so at some point maybe I will take the chance.
Trump just can't seem to get it right. Recently, he revealed the jury composition, getting himself into trouble yet again. This was his 10th contempt charge, much to Merch's displeasure. Trump's ongoing questioning of the jury's integrity didn't help his case. Prosecutors were furious, claiming multiple gag order violations. But the judge only held him accountable for one comment. Trump may have dodged a bullet, but he should tread carefully because Merch is running out of patience.
I was recently informed that another corrupt New York judge, Juan Merchan, gagged me. That's gagged like you can't talk. But he gagged me with respect to a case that everyone, including the DA, felt should never have been brought. Plenty of people have gagged me recently because when I talk in New York, I explain to the people and they understand these cases are all rigged.
Donald Trump is known for attacking anyone in his way, whether through social media or fiery speeches.
It sounds fair, doesn't it, to be gagged, but it's not. It virtually never happens. It only happens to me because I'm able to tell people what's happening, and those people get extremely angry with what's happening. This judge should be recused, and the case should be thrown out. He's totally conflicted. There's never been a judge more conflicted than this one. There has virtually never been anything like it. Thank you very much.
The once composed individual has now become more aggressive due to increasing legal pressures. Lawyers like Smith Willis and Bragg, known for their tenacity in handling tough cases, have been relentless in their pursuit of justice, leaving no stone unturned in holding this individual accountable. Judges like Choucain and Angoran have also taken a firm stand against misconduct or abuse of power, their commitment to upholding the law adding to the individual's troubles, causing him to lash out in frustration. His verbal attacks are no longer limited to a few, but are directed at almost anyone crossing his path. His behavior has become more erratic, his attacks more frequent and vicious, making those around him uneasy and uncertain about the future. In conclusion, the mounting legal pressure has pushed him to the edge, and his formerly calm demeanor has given way to aggression and hostility. The situation's outcome is uncertain, but his verbal assaults are likely to increase as the pressure builds.
What is a gag order? A gag order or suppression order is a formal directive which forbids people from discussing something publicly. Gag orders are usually used in a legal context when a judge wants to keep a trial as fair as possible by limiting public discussion as the trial occurs, to avoid influencing jurors and witnesses. Private organizations, companies, and institutions can also use gag orders to control the flow of information. In the case of a gag order which pertains to a legal trial, the order is issued by a judge. The order may ban people involved in a case, such as lawyers, witnesses, and jurors, from discussing the case publicly, and it can also ban media reporting on the case.
Gag orders are typically used in legal context to keep trials fair by limiting public discussion that might influence jurors and witnesses. Private organizations, companies, and institutions can also use gag orders to control the flow of information. In the context of a legal trial, a gag order is issued by a judge and may prohibit individuals involved in the case, such as lawyers, witnesses, and jurors, from discussing it publicly. It can also restrict media coverage and reporting on the case. Gag orders in legal proceedings ensure fairness by limiting information flow that could impact jurors or witnesses. Private entities also use gag orders to manage information dissemination. Judges issue these orders to prevent lawyers, witnesses, and jurors from speaking publicly about the trial. In some cases, media reporting on the case may also be prohibited. Essentially, a gag order instructs everyone involved in the case to refrain from discussing anything related to the trial publicly, as the court believes it could interfere with the administration of justice. Trump has incurred numerous fines for violating these orders under New York's criminal contempt statute. Therefore, it is advisable for Trump to avoid discussing the case to prevent further penalties. An intriguing question arises. Could Trump potentially win the election yet still face jail time while serving as president? This was the topic of conversation at the Rogan House today. Is there a real danger that Trump could win the election but lose the court case, literally having to serve jail time while being the president? This was the topic of discussion at the Rogan House today. Americans are concerned, questioning whether he can govern from jail. The platform for this discussion is quite shaky, reflecting the ongoing uncertainties.
There a real danger that Trump could win but lose, meaning that he could win the election but lose his court case, literally have to go to jail while he's the president? This was the topic of discussion at the Rogan House today.
But Americans are not struggling. You know, this is the worst platform. Who put this stage up here? This is the worst. The frickin' place is falling down. It keeps tilting further left, like too many other things.
There's nothing that says he can't
govern from jail. But is he in danger of actually being put in a jail for these crimes?
The drama of Trump's trial is far from over, with more crucial dates ahead. In addition to his reckless social media activity, Trump's courtroom behavior is under Judge Merchan's scrutiny. Trump's language and demeanor need to be carefully managed to avoid further contempt charges. This was evident in the recent courtroom proceedings, which, although tedious, highlighted the serious risk of prison time if Trump errs again.
You saw yesterday when they take away my right to speak. I won't be able to speak like I'm speaking to you. And I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm saying the truth. I won't be able to do this with that trial because the judge, which of course we're appealing, because the judge said basically I don't have a right to speak.
Donald Trump, known for his outspoken personality and resistance to gag orders, believes these restrictions infringe on his freedom of speech and has even threatened legal action against the court's decision to censor him. This stance has sparked intense debate in legal circles and among the public. Despite the court's assurance that there are still many things he can discuss without breaching the order, Trump remains adamant about expressing his views, often using social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook to communicate his opinions, which sometimes attract criticism. Trump's defiance of gag orders has not gone unnoticed, with many questioning whether his actions indicate a broader issue with the justice system. Some argue that courts are too quick to issue gag orders, while others view Trump's non-compliance as a sign of his disregard for the law. Despite the controversy, one thing is clear: Donald Trump is not easily silenced. His persistent dedication to voicing his views, even under legal constraints, has made him a polarizing figure in American politics and a subject of ongoing discussion. He is allowed to criticize the case as politically motivated and declare his innocence, calling it a witch hunt, all of which he has been doing. None of this is prohibited by the gag order. It is important to consider the fairness of the situation regarding President Trump's ability to express his opinions and criticisms of the government. While the courts have established guidelines on what he can and cannot say, they have also allowed him some flexibility to express himself freely. President Trump is still entitled to criticize his political opponents, including President-elect Biden, members of the Justice Department, and other government officials. As a U.S. citizen, he retains the right to voice his opinions and concerns about the actions and decisions of those in power. Furthermore, it is important to recognize that President Trump has the right to defend himself against any accusations or attacks he perceives as unjust. He is entitled to expose any political trickery or corruption that he believes is occurring within the government and to speak out against those who aim to undermine his administration and policies. Of course, it is also crucial to remember that with these rights come certain responsibilities. As a public figure and the nation's leader, President Trump has a duty to act respectfully and appropriately, avoiding statements that could be seen as inciting violence or unrest. Ultimately, it is up to each individual to determine their stance on President Trump's right to express himself. While there may be disagreements about the appropriateness of certain statements or actions, it is important to remember that we all share the same fundamental rights and freedoms as U.S. citizens.
We have some breaking news this hour. Jack Smith, the special counsel, has new filing in the Mar-a-Lago documents case. In it, special counsel Smith asks the federal judge overseeing this case, that's Judge Aileen Cannon, to bar former President Trump from making statements that endanger law enforcement. This filing is in response to Trump this week complaining that standard boilerplate language contained in the FBI search warrant, which was used to search Mar-a-Lago in the summer of 2022. Trump is complaining that it was actually a secret attempt by Joe Biden to use the FBI to kill Donald Trump. This is an excerpt from that filing tonight on the part of Smith.
Here's another interesting fact. Trump has faced similar restrictions in other cases. You might recall the fraud trial where he received a gag order after making inappropriate comments about a court staff member. In the case involving classified White House documents at Mar-a-Lago, there is no gag order, but Trump's bond conditions prohibit him from speaking with witnesses or co-defendants without his lawyer present. It is fortunate that he hasn't violated these restrictions in these cases thus far.